It's official, boys. Blizzard broke midnight on purpose. Now, I have absolutely no idea what it means, but maybe this fine bellular video would shed some light on this topic. Don't judge early. Let's wait and see. It may be a good thing.
Welcome to the Warcraft News, everyone. You know things are getting serious when the game's head honcho drops an almost 3,000 word long article that's defending Blizzard's newfound courage.
Dude.
The courage to do bold and outright brash things, like, say, the changes
crawling.
they're making to leveling in Midnight, or how they're now building a new
transparency.
zone with a very peculiar
I
name
saw something
using
different for
only
some
vanilla
reason.
assets.
My bad.
And of course, everything with add-ons. And really, every week for the last while, Blizzard have done something to shake things up. This week is no different.
Dude, come on. I love Bellular so much, but he needs to stop with this glaze. It's getting out of hand. I mean, honestly, dude, whenever Blizzard do the most mundane thing imaginable, like, sometimes creators go like, oh my god, everything is changing, No, nothing is changing. If Blizzard were actual rational human beings with a functioning frontal lobe, everything that they would have done, I mean, like this, that is on such a small scale, wouldn't have mattered, because they would have done this without making a festival out of it, without celebration. Why in God's name are we glorifying mediocrity? This should be baseline for a company to do. You literally should not celebrate this. This is so weird to me that everyone, like, I've seen so many content creators have been glazing Blizzard, and I get it. I mean, we all want Blizzard to do good, right? I mean, I'm on that ship right alongside you, brother. But please, for the love of God, let's not treat these small things as, like, a huge W. Because it's not. It should have happened a long time ago, and everyone knows it. And honestly, I'm not trying to, like, literally sound like the most worst Blizzard hater out there. I truly want this company to do good and succeed. But come on, man. Like, we gotta be real here.
It's full of surprises. Most are good, but not quite all of them. First, though, we need to talk about game director Ian Hazzikostas. This may be the single largest change in expansions ever made to World of Warcraft. That is not a title of a video on our channel, though it may well be. No, those are Ian's own words from the article that he posted. And that does make sense. Midnight is bringing change unlike ever before. We've seen the fallout to the add-on apocalypse in real time, but now Ian has officially responded to things.
Good.
So,
finally.
what could possibly be worth all of this chaos? His answer is simple. It's that there has been a shift from add-ons that display information to add-ons that process information. Obviously, we have heard this before. We know guilds and pugs force people to download weak auras to solve mechanics. We know people...
Because you literally can't play the game without them. It's not a matter of forced. It's a matter of if you want to raid on a higher tier, you literally have to do this or you can't pass. I mean, how many people can do Mythic Archimond? I mean, you know, back in the day when it was like the hot new thing, without like, without all these add-ons. It's impossible, man. Like, it's literally impossible. So, I mean, you gotta have those if you run a raid on a higher level. And that just sucks. And that's Blizzard's fault. That's not the add-ons fault. Add-ons shouldn't have a place in a video game whatsoever. It should be like Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know why I said it like an idiot. It should be like Final Fantasy XIV. And you have no add-ons. Everything is already pre-built inside a game. That's how it should function. You should not be downloading anything but the main client of the video game that you're playing. I cannot make this any simpler. This is literally it. I hate external website, and most importantly, I hate add-ons.
People play with Hikili or Plater because they
You can dislike the video now, by the way.
Their class or react to things fast enough.
I know people are
with
mad
the
at
game
that.
as
I
it's
know
presented.
it.
But why does any of that stuff bother Ian? Because obviously, it's been in the game for a long time. And the answer he poses is actually simple. It's the feedback he gets. Whenever they design a boss that's too easy, players tell him it's not satisfying.
Exactly.
Whenever they build a class around simple choices, they get the same complaint. But here's the thing. He knows that's because players are using add-ons to make it easier. Now, of course, they still need to make the game better for those players.
No, you don't. Don't use it. No, dude, no, please don't. No, you don't owe them anything. Please, for the love of actual God, aim for the 70 to 80% of players in the middle. Don't go for the sweats that use all the add-ons and all the high tier raid stuff. Like, please do not listen to them. Please, for the love of God, don't.
Over time, what Ian's team have done for years and years is just add more layers to the game. They've made it faster, they've made it more complex.
And you made it too overwhelming for new players to actually join to the game. And that's how you reach the point where you're on now, which is the lowest point Blizzard has ever been on. And you can see from the recent expansion trailers, more and more people are leaving the game. And it is apparent. And please, for the love of God, don't tell me about the recent statistics where they had like 20 million players or something. These are all bots. They purposely misled this, like the papers, because they did not include all the bots. I mean, they did include all the bots, but they didn't remove them from the papers. That sucks. We all know that most of the people that play World of Warcraft are bots nowadays. We all know that. If you've been into the game, you already know how bad this problem is. Bots are infesting the game right now, and you know it. If you play the game currently, you already know that.
But that's also left people who weren't using add-ons behind, meaning that WoW was less approachable, and meaning the design team can't make satisfying content because they're designing around automation tools rather than designing around the actual play.
Facts. You're trying to fight a machine. You cannot fight a machine. The machine will always win. That's the problem. You need to make sure the machine does not have, access to, I guess, the core mechanics, right? Or essentially your machine. So you shouldn't try to beat it or try to circumvent things. You should literally just stop add-ons from existing. Or at the very least, I can accept it being limited to a very, very small portion of the game. I can accept that. But please, just remove them.
And that
I've said it
is
so
why
many times, man. I feel like a broken record at this point.
In big, bold text, Ian states it plainly. Add-ons should no longer offer a competitive advantage in WoW combat. That's a humongous change. It's a solid guiding principle. And after years of reflection and thinking about this, I wholeheartedly agree with it. I think in a world where WoW's designers are in full control, the game is almost guaranteed to improve massively.
Absolutely.
I mean, the current discussion we have with add-ons that make the game easier is not really something that we see in many of the world's most popular video games.
This raid actually looks
quite
nice.
A weird specific WoW thing. Those layers and layers of complexity and challenge often ended up being just to, well, combat that people were using computational add-ons. I think that made the game's signal-to-noise ratio significantly worse, and it made WoW far less readable, which is a real huge problem if you actually want to, get new players into your game. Thinking about recent experience, I mean, Dementius is one of the best bosses in WoW's entire history, even without add-ons. Loads of my guild used none. I used none, other than console port, to make my controller experiment feel a little bit better. So, I think Midnight has got insane promise, but that is easier said than done. And I think that's what a lot of people are thinking right now, that even if this goal is good, and many of us agree with it, well, the problem is the amount of chaos and what's going on in the community. And that is what Ian tries to address next. Right now, the community is aflame with people kind of outraged. We don't know what's going to be supported when it comes to add-ons. Purely cosmetic add-ons, which should be fine per Blizzard's guidelines, appear to be breaking. The damage meters that Blizzard have implemented don't seem to work on the beta, and major add-on devs have even thrown in the towel. Many posted about how it was almost impossible to get some basic functionality working on the early alpha builds because...
Yes, I do agree that Blizzard should have some sort of an in-game add-on already working and ready to go, right? Because you need some fallback plan, because people are gonna need those things, and you should offer them an experience that you have the control of. So if Blizzard has its own damage meter, it should work 100% of the times, and it should have no problems, and that way Blizzard can actually access what it shows you and what it's not, and that way everyone is happy. Like, everyone is happy, except, the guy making the add-ons.
Lots of the technical stuff had changed.
Yeah, they're not
people
happy.
Had no idea what to expect. And going beyond just the add-on devs, a lot of people were just a bit scared, a bit worried. And what we would really all need to see was Blizzard's version of these add-ons, because that would tell us what the game would actually look and feel like. So, there's been a lot of chaos, a lot of collateral damage, and that is what Ian then goes into. he carefully admits that their changes did cause a lot of that chaos. Now, many add-on devs posted about the extent of the breakage, a lot of this just being essentially APIs and stuff changing. But Ian can't really brazenly admit something like that in a post like this. So instead, what he did was publicly commit to customization as a goal that they are working towards. And in fairness, with recent changes on the beta, we do know that that's not just talk. There's now support for class resources like Holy Power. Damage meters are getting more details-like options. There's text-to-speech stuff, audio alerts. The accessibility features are coming in slowly, but thankfully they are actually coming in. But here's what makes this whole mess a little bit different.
Fair enough.
Ian admits that this chaos was actually a necessary part of their plan. That rather than cut functionality down bit by bit, they just decided to do it all at once and to burn everything to the ground. And
yeah, they just pulled the ripcord straight up. And I mean, maybe they could have done this in a much digestible way, sure. But I think the fact that they have done this and to this extent is actually showing that they are willing to change. I actually think I started this video being really cynical because, you know, I just find it so hard to trust Blizzard anymore. But this is an actual W. Like, straight up. Good job. Good job, Blizzard. There you go. I've said it. And that's all you're going to hear for this video.
Once alpha players would give feedback on what was missing, they would then know what to work on next. I suppose not based on what they think would be the right thing to work on, but based on actual player need communicated by players.
Finally.
And from that point, they would then start to rebuild things. So, rather ironically, all of this chaos was sort of part of the plan. But this does raise quite the question. And the question is this. It's a lot of change. Why now? Why seemingly rush things? I mean,
because there's no players left, man.
Without this type of gigantic change layered on top.
They realized.
The good news is, Ian actually gave us an answer for that as well. Ian admits that he first started talking about add-ons last year to basically start the community conversation. And when he did, he found that on average, people did not want add-ons to be required, or to at least feel required. But naturally, they also didn't fully trust Blizzard to get things right. So they started investigating, basically thinking,
dude, I could have told them that like 5 years ago. It's crazy that only last year this discussion even sparked. That is so off to me. I mean, literally people have been complaining about this exact same issue ever since I remember myself playing, like truly playing retail, like in Draenor. People have been complaining about that. And it, admittedly, it only got worse and worse through the years, right? I think right now we hit like the boiling point. But people have talked about this. Like, as far as I can remember, people have always talked about this.
What would it take to pull this off? And apparently, their UI engineers are a little bit cracked, and they ended up making way more progress than Blizzard themselves imagined. And that meant they all kind of realized something a bit astonishing. That they actually could do it in time for the Midnight expansion. That, yes, it would be cutting things close, but that this was the type of change that you can only make with a new expansion. So they faced a choice. Either risk the UI changes not being fully ready, or keep the add-on heavy status quo until the last Titan.
Or you can pay for more developers, I mean, instead of like the CEO, but I don't know, that's just me throwing things around. Maybe, you don't have to listen.
Obviously, they decided to pull the trigger.
I don't know.
And that set off a chain reaction of changes across the game. Changes that have impacted classes, changes that have impacted dungeons, and massively so.
He needed that bonus.
I'm happy to say, at least in our experience so far, they have mostly let their designers cook. And if you've watched our winners and losers video on Melee DPS, you'll know that almost every spec comes into Midnight a bit more simple, but without losing what makes them unique and hard to master. Dungeons, at least in our limited testing, have also kind of went the same way. There's way less sensory overload, way less reading the UI. You're actually playing the game a hell of a lot more, which...
That's really good.
I think should be the point of a game, actually. You know, shocking statement. Now, obviously, there still are some questions here. Will damage meters actually work well? How much more will be fixed during the beta? And will this actually revitalize WoW? Will it actually have that intended effect?
It's a start. It's a start. It will definitely not be the thing that actually brings World of Warcraft back to life, because it's been beaten dead to this point. But if you truly want to revive the game, then this is a good start. For sure. For sure.
Or will it just kind of piss off current players who have got to go and rebuild their UI? Well, Ian can't answer that, but he believes that it's worth the risk, and he promises here that they will do, quote, everything possible. And I, for one, actually believe him. I believe him personally, but there's also that if the player numbers go down and the money goes down, yeah, they very much will have to do everything possible to save their own skin. So you can say that at least their incentives do appear to be aligned. Now, I think Midnight is definitely not going to launch perfectly. It's an expansion launch and one with a shitload of change, so I think it will be a little bit rocky. But I do prefer a WoW that is bold, that is brave, and that is actually trying to solve problems fundamentally, instead of one that is just afraid to rock the boat.
Absolutely, because they have been going in this steady pace of just whoop, and now you're at least making bold decisions, which, granted, can harm you, potentially can harm you. I agree with that. But now, maybe you have the chance to grow, because clearly what you have been doing until now didn't work. So you gotta make some sort of a change. It had to happen sometime. Like, right? Someday it had to happen.
Speaking of rocking the boat, there is another bold move, and it's one that may upset some people. Dungeons are going to work a little differently in Midnight, and it's been rather controversial.
Interesting.
So, in the War Within, you may remember how the Rookery was part of the main story. You went in with your followers in order to recruit the Storm Riders. Basically, they would be the last line of defense for Khazalgar. And of course, by going into the dungeon, you firsthand got to see it all go wrong. Zaltat's corruption became apparent as you then had to go and kill them all,
Some
which
lore
obviously
stuff.
led Khazalgar a little bit
I stopped
defenseless,
following, man.
Belgar both furious and feeling betrayed, which then led to his big character moment a few quests later. And honestly, it was absolutely fantastic. I thought, wow, this is a dungeon being integrated into the story in a good way that's reminiscent of FF14, which absolutely nailed that.
That's actually great. Yeah, it sounds nice.
It was good stuff. But all of the other dungeons, well, they were basically just little random side quests. This time, though, things are different. 4 dungeons are tied to the core campaign, and the other 4 are tied to their own quest lines. Basically, Blizzard wants you to experience the dungeons for their stories, so you'll actually understand them in context.
That's
almost
good.
As if you are playing an MMORPG. The main point being that the dungeons shouldn't just be weird, confusing standalone things.
No.
Honestly, I think that will be way better for the majority of people.
You gotta
in the
be
game.
joking.
But there is a little bit of a cost for that vision.
Immersion.
And this is the bit that a lot of people won't like. Though, I think Blizzard are doing a lot
What's not to
hedge
like
against
about that?
So on your first character, you are going to be locked, and not just by level anymore. Now, we're not back to full Burning Crusade style achievement quest lines, but yes, every dungeon in Midnight now unlocks via quests. Some of these are part of the main story, like Magister's Terrace. You'll hit this at the start of the Voidstorm questing, which is the final zone that you'll go to after you've cleared the other 3. Now, if you're trying to level without doing the story, then you'll have to skip this one. It unlocks at 90, and so do 2 others. And unless you do the main story or the side quests, you'll only unlock 1 dungeon at level 81, 1 at level 83, and that will be it until level 88. This does mean the dungeon leveling is basically dead, at least for your first character.
Interesting.
You can still do it, but you'll just be spamming Windrunner Spire and then Murder Row, which sounds absolutely insane. Of course, speed levelers have...
So, if I understand this correctly, they just want you on your first character to experience everything once, and then you can just do whatever you want on your ults. I think that is really good. I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. I can't see why this would piss people off. Unless you want to rush things, then I guess, sure.
Historically relied on dungeon spam. A lot of that's just because instances are usually a safe way to
I don't think most
get around
people are like that,
issues. And this does seem like a fairly horrible way of playing the game, with there being so few dungeons available in that way. But here's the thing. We've played these dungeons, and we know exactly why Blizzard are doing this. It's because with follower dungeons now working, this is actually a brilliant way to put proper bosses in the story. It's actually good, and it now means there will be meaningful and memorable fights instead of just world NPCs getting blitzed by a dozen people. Sadly, though, there is the obvious downside, where if you're a returning player who prefers dungeon spam with your friends, just like the good old days, well, you'll have to get to level 81 first, you'll have to get used to Windrunner Spire a lot. and that may not be that fun. But that said, there is another point to Blizzard's change here. You have to do the story anyway to unlock the game's endgame features, and this does fix a potential problem that some people may face, where they would spam dungeons until they hit max level, and then just realize that they've got to go and do all of those quests anyway, which absolutely feels bad whenever those quests aren't giving your character experience. So, all in all, I think this is basically great. It means there's more story in the dungeons, it means there's more dungeons in the story, and that means that the story can actually have these moments of spectacle where it feels big, where it doesn't just feel like another quest.
It can
That's
actually
really
have an
important for
impact.
the pacing of the game, and it's important for actually making the story memorable. And I should also note that the unlocks here...
I think that most people have forgotten that they are playing an MMORPG. They only think that they're playing an MMO. No, there's an RPG element. There's a role-playing game. And this is important. We shouldn't abandon that. I'd even argue that that is the most important aspect of it. I mean, so I think what Blizzard is doing here is actually really, really good. You know, again, I'm saying the same thing over and over again. I started this video being very skeptical, but this is shaping up to be pretty good decision by Blizzard.
Are going to be warband wide, so basically this is not really going to be a problem beyond week 1. So in my view, it is a clear win all round, and speaking of going all round, we have went all round the beta. There's a lot to talk about. Now, the beta is live, and that means there's a whole lot going on. Have you ever wanted a golden trophy of a boss for your house? We're not going to full on spoil you here, so we'll only show you one from the one boss raid. Here it is. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
But rest assured, each of the 3 end bosses have got their own beautiful golden statue. Though gold is, of course, the best, and these rewards are for the cutting-edge achievements. Those are, you know, the mythic raiding ones.
The
Not
sweaty
everyone
stuff.
will really be able to do that.
That's actually
yes,
really
maybe
cool.
because of
I like that
difficulty, but
idea.
also just for organizational reasons, so I sincerely hope Blizzard adds a silver, at least, for the much more attainable ahead of the curve. Though to be honest, it would feel a little bit shit if, say, Heroic got silver, if Normal got bronze, and if LFR got wood. Though it would be really funny. Anyway, statues. They'll be a thing for going and killing.
Look at my wood statue.
But that's not it for cosmetics, because
I
we've
cleared
just got
LFR.
something people have been waiting on for a long, long time. And that is actual, honest-to-God, real Night Elf weaponry.
No.
Basic Night Elf weapons that anyone can use. And yes, that does include proper glaives.
They
and
added
thankfully,
that?
they are glaives that are tagged as swords, and they're also one-handed swords, meaning that even Fury Warriors can use them. And no, that's not a joke at your expense, Warriors. Rather, your transmog dreams have finally came true here. It doesn't work in beta just yet, but at least the UI finally supports it. So at long last, Fury Warriors can transmog two-handed weapons to one-handers.
Close enough.
Absolutely good. It only took a lot of asking over many years. Healers, though, are also getting what they've asked for, and that is a clearer UI. Now, while these raid frame changes are not in yet, what we do have is icon borders. They've been data mined, and really, I think they're pretty good. Now, you can already tell what type a debuff was,
perfect.
technically, but that was by squinting at the 1 pixel border color. Now, with these, at a glance, you'll know what's a bleed, a curse, or a disease, or whatever else you need. I think they look pretty good and visually clear.
They looked fine.
Now, the last group to benefit are everyone's favorite, the solo player sickos. If you love the challenge of the Delve Nemesis hard modes, then there is real good news. The Hall of Fame for Delves is now 10 times larger, meaning that the first 10,000 players to successfully kill the boss will get the fabled Vanquisher title, which is, pretty good. And it actually does prove that you're actually good at the game and not just carried by someone. Unless, of course, you're playing an easy spec, like the old Demon Hunter, because even they can get carried by that. And now our last bit of news. World of Warcraft can now finally, legally drink alcohol in the US. The game is 21 years old, and that does actually mean the anniversary is back. But not the usual anniversary with just a bit of an XP buff.
We're getting old, boys.
The 20th anniversary shindig is back, and that does include the updated Blackrock Depths raid, though seemingly only in heroic mode. The big thing this means, though, is that you can get any of the updated Tier 2 sets that you may have missed from last year, plus a very long list of other rewards. And just like last year, you get a 10% XP buff for logging in, and then a bonus 10% for going to the Caverns of Time and doing the daily quest that Yelana gives you. And if you want another...
Awesome. Well, I mean, I'm gonna stop it right here. It seems to be the end of the video. Wow. I mean, I gotta be honest here, guys. This was a pretty large Blizzard W. And it hurts me to say it, but I gotta be honest. I'm always honest with you guys, and you know it. This is actually shaping up to be a pretty good change. I really hope Blizzard will follow up on that, and they won't cave in to like the 1% demands. I literally wish they would keep going at this route, because maybe even I'll try this game. If they continue doing changes such as this, I might come back to the game to try it out. Who knows? And it's so weird for me to say it, because I haven't been even considering it ever since I quit. So this is a very good change. I'm actually satisfied to hear it. Hopefully, again, like Blizzard would continue. And yeah, I pretty much think that I've said all that I have to say about this topic. So once again, I'm going to leave a link in the description so you guys can watch this video for yourself. Give Bellular a like and a sub if you haven't already. And once again, make sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.